just regarding Steph Curry and just him seeing to, light it up and the early season criticism of him not being himself and whatever garbage has been put out there. Um, do you think that fans ultimately don't matter in terms of a player heating up or getting on fire? Because we've seen it with Steph, and we've seen it, I believe with Bradley Beal too. Just in terms of their high point performances, that while I think a crowd does help, ultimately it's that player that's going to erupt for those performances. Is that we're ultimately seeing? This is kind of like an experiment with limited to no fans, that players can just kind of turn it on themselves. And that, I guess what I'm asking you is, the fan influence on the game a little bit overblown in terms of a player erupting for a athletic performance, or do you think that's still a factor once we get fans back into the stands, that they might pose an influence on these games in terms of the athletes involved?
I think where we're seeing the absence of fans impact games the most is in these blowouts, where maybe a team is down by 9 points, the fans get a chant going. You have some specific, like in Atlanta, they have an organist that'll play. The fans get chanting, and maybe the players have a lockdown defensive play, and that sparks a 9-0 run, and then you have a basketball game again. I think that's where mostly we are seeing that impact. I mean, with Steph Curry specifically, it does seem that was in part social media, in part comments by Damian Lillard before the game, which, by the way, I thought were warranted and reasonable. But Steph took it that way, and kind of like Jordan used things for fuel. He used that as well. I think things from other players are a lot more impactful than the fans specifically, just because I think there's so much noise around players all the time anyway, like on social media and on the court, fans yelling at them, that I think they have gotten good at tuning that out. So I think it's more impactful as in terms of like a team effort, like, hey guys, don't lay down and let this team stomp you by 30 points. We're here, we're watching, we're with you. We want you to be engaged. Yay, they get that stop, they go on that run. That's kind of the difference that I see. But do you think there might be a little bit more to the individual performances?
Not too really. I think players are performing to what we've seen, and also, there's just some teams that haven't played the game in a while, just because of the pandemic. They're trying to get back into the swing of things. That's another contributing reasons. Um, I'm kind of 50-50 on the back-to-backs. I understand the necessary implementation of them, but I don't know if it leads to the best quality on the floor. So that's kind of wait and see. I could see that sticking around after the pandemic, to be honest. Just that back-to-back series. So I could see it going either way. But I think fans factor more in terms of a team being down by a certain amount of points, just in terms of the importance of the game and just the momentum that it has. So I think fans are a factor in that regard. I'm not sure in terms of a guy going off for an individual performance. I think that's basically on the player, in my opinion.